on what, could have been one of the most beautiful nights of my life career-wise. I literally was sent to the basement with all my friends and family for over an hour.
And unlike any case that I've handled in my entire career, it's the one case we're going to put every single document, everything on a website for everyone in the public to read, come to their own conclusions.
If you think you've seen it all when it comes to celebrity drama, think again. Hollywood has a way of shocking us with its unexpected twists and turns. But this is a whole new level of drama that no one saw coming. Two stars, beloved by fans for their charm and authenticity, suddenly find themselves in the midst of a courtroom battle that's as intense as it is unpredictable. You've seen them on the red carpet, in movies, and on social media. But now Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni are facing off in a legal showdown that's about to bring everything crashing down. Blake Lively, the glamorous actress who we've watched grow up in the spotlight, and Justin Baldoni, the actor and mental health advocate known for his thoughtful and vulnerable approach to life, are now locked in a battle over words, intentions, and reputations. But just when you thought things couldn't get more heated, Justin's lawyer steps forward with a set of receipts that changes everything. And in one shocking moment, Blake Lively, the picture of poise and elegance, completely collapses in court. Let's take you through the jaw-dropping details of what went down in the courtroom. Because trust me, this is a story you won't want to miss. How did it all begin? It's easy to think that a legal battle like this is something that builds over time. But in this case, it all started with a simple misunderstanding. Or at least, that's how it appeared at first. Blake Lively, who has built a massive following over the years, took to social media to express her thoughts on a topic close to her heart: emotional vulnerability. She shared a post about the importance of expressing emotions freely, especially in men, and how society often suppresses this vulnerability by imposing harmful expectations on masculinity. Her intentions seemed clear: to spread awareness about the importance of mental health and emotional expression. But not everyone agreed with her. Justin Baldoni, who has made a name for himself as a passionate advocate for men's emotional well-being, took issue with Blake's comments.
I was in the basement with the people that I love the most, and we were all joyful and laughing because none of that shit matters. None of it. That's not why we're in the business. That's not why the three of us are in this business, is to attend a premiere like that and be celebrated. We're in this business because we're artists and we believe in what we do, and because we want to create art that touches people's hearts and souls and can move people. And that's what we did. That's what you both did. And I believe that will follow each of us, and that truth will prevail, and that light and love will win.
Justin has spent years working to break down the toxic masculine stereotypes that prevent men from seeking help, expressing emotions, or showing vulnerability. For him, Blake's message didn't hit the mark. What followed was a public clash of ideas. Justin responded, calling out Blake for oversimplifying the issue, suggesting that her words didn't fully reflect the complexities of the subject. Fans quickly took sides, with some supporting Blake's right to speak out on the topic, while others sided with Justin, claiming his advocacy for men's mental health deserved respect. But when things started to escalate, it quickly became clear that what had begun as an online disagreement would not end there. The legal war begins. At this point, the back and forth on social media had quickly escalated, drawing the attention of both fans and media outlets alike. What had initially started as a simple difference of opinion, a brief online spat between two public figures, was now spiraling wildly out of control. Every word exchange seemed to add fuel to the fire, with both sides gaining increasing support from their respective followers. The conflict was no longer just a fleeting moment in the celebrity gossip world. It had become a full-blown spectacle. Blake Lively, known for her typically calm demeanor and her careful, almost meticulous management of her public image, wasn't about to let the situation slide. She wasn't used to being attacked in this way, especially not in public. After much thought, Blake decided to take legal action. In an unexpected move, she filed a defamation lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, a man whose own reputation had been built on advocating for the mental health of men. Blake argued that Justin's public criticism of her statements had misrepresented her true intentions, and in the process, caused significant damage to her carefully curated reputation. On the flip side, Justin Baldoni, a man who had long fought for emotional vulnerability in men, wasn't about to sit quietly while his work was dismissed. He had built his career and platform around the belief that society needed to change its views on masculinity and mental health. Justin's team responded with an equally passionate defense. They argued that Blake's comments, whether intentional or not, had undermined the years of advocacy Justin had put into breaking down toxic masculinity. His legal team contended that Blake's remarks had painted his work as trivial, implying that her perspective on vulnerability and emotional expression for men didn't truly grasp the complexity of the issue. Worse still, they claimed that her words could have lasting repercussions on the public's perception of his mission and his credibility in the mental health space. As the case began to gain momentum, the media circus surrounding it grew exponentially. The story was everywhere, from tabloids to major news outlets. Every update in the case sent shockwaves through Hollywood, with fans, critics, and journalists alike eagerly waiting to see what would happen next. What started as a small disagreement was now a full-fledged public spectacle, with every new detail adding to the drama. The courtroom was set to become the stage for a monumental showdown, one that would determine the future of both celebrities' reputations. Would they be able to put their differences aside and reconcile? Or would this legal battle continue to unfold in public, slowly tearing both of them down in the process? The shocking moment. Justin's lawyer brings the receipts. And then it happened, the moment that nobody saw coming. The third day of the trial had arrived and the atmosphere was tense. Blake sat in the courtroom, her usual grace and poise starting to waver as the case took a new turn. Justin's lawyer, a sharp and no-nonsense legal expert, stepped forward to present new evidence that would change everything. Now, when we talk about receipts, we're not just talking about documents or evidence. No, these were the receipts, a series of private messages, emails, and even audio recordings that revealed a side of the situation nobody knew about. The courtroom was stunned as Justin's lawyer laid out piece after piece of evidence, showing that Blake's comments weren't as innocent as they appeared. The receipts were damning, and they weren't just about words. They showed Blake in private conversations with her team, admitting that her comments might not have been as carefully worded as she initially thought. There were messages that questioned whether she had truly understood the complexity of the issue she was commenting on. And then, there were audio recordings, conversations where Blake seemed to contradict her public statements, suggesting that she didn't fully grasp the consequences of what she had said. As each piece of evidence was revealed, Blake's face drained of color. The room went silent. You could feel the weight of the moment in the air. Blake Lively, the actress known for her poised and controlled public persona, now found herself facing a barrage of evidence that painted a very different picture. The collapse, a moment of vulnerability. The receipts were powerful, no doubt, but it wasn't just the evidence that had an impact. It was what happened next. Blake, who had been trying to maintain her composure throughout the trial, suddenly seemed to falter. She was no longer the confident, polished star that we're all used to seeing on screen, the one who effortlessly commanded attention with her poise and grace. In a moment of pure emotion, everything Blake had worked to maintain seemed to slip away. Her strength, her calm, evaporated in an instant. She collapsed right there in the courtroom. It wasn't a dramatic fall or a fainting spell. It wasn't like something you'd see in a movie, but there was no mistaking the weight of the moment. The emotional toll it took on her was evident. Blake's shoulders slumped as she struggled to regain control of herself. Her eyes, usually so steady and self-assured, darted around the room as if she was searching for a way to escape the mounting pressure. The realization that the receipts, each piece of evidence, could not only threaten her career, but also be the catalyst for a public humiliation that she might never recover from, began to sink in. The walls seemed to close in, and the world she had so carefully built around her felt like it was unraveling before her eyes. Her legal team rushed to her side, offering support and trying to steady her. But it was clear that the damage had already been done. Blake had always prided herself on being able to stay composed, on handling even the most intense situations with a sense of control. But in that moment, the gravity of the situation was simply too much to bear. The weight of the public scrutiny, the fear of the consequences that were beginning to surface, and the realization that she might lose everything she had worked for, it all became too real for her to hide. A turning point, reflection and growth.
We have here exclusively Justin Baldoni speaking to what he called his dream team, those who had been helping him edit the films and get it to finality, lamenting the fact that he was put in the basement on the premiere of his own movie, he says, per Blake's demands. Take a listen to that voice text in part.
Think about this on what, could have been one of the most beautiful nights of my life career-wise. I literally was sent to the basement with all my friends and family for over an hour because I wasn't allowed to be seen. She didn't want me anywhere near her or the rest of the cast. So they ushered me off the carpet and they sent us down to the basement. We were down there together, my friends and family, the people that love me the most, and we start laughing because of the ridiculousness of this whole thing. And I realized, on a night that was supposed to be so materialistically joyful, and I believe that will follow each of us, and that truth will prevail, and that light and love will win.
After a few minutes of emotional turmoil, Blake slowly regained her composure, though her face still carried the weight of the emotional toll she had just endured. It was clear she had been pushed to her limits, and the vulnerability she had displayed in that moment was something the public had rarely seen. She turned to face Justin's lawyer, and for the first time in the trial, Blake's tone softened, no longer defensive, but more reflective. She knew the evidence against her was overwhelming, but what she didn't expect was how it made her reflect on the bigger picture. The unintended consequences of her words, the way her actions had spiraled into something far bigger than herself. "Look," Blake said, her voice shaky but sincere, "I made a mistake. I never meant to undermine anyone's work, especially not Justin's. I see now that my words didn't come out the way I intended them, and for that, I apologize." Her voice broke slightly as the weight of the moment settled in, and for a fleeting second, the courtroom was silent. It was a rare and raw moment of genuine emotion that Blake had only ever shown in private. Her apology wasn't just a reflection on the words that had been said, but on the impact those words had on Justin's career, his life's work, and the people who believed in him. Justin, who had been sitting quietly on the other side of the courtroom, looked up, his eyes meeting Blake's. The silence between them was thick, filled with unspoken understanding. For a brief second, it felt as though the tension that had defined their relationship for the past weeks began to dissolve, replaced by a quiet recognition of their shared humanity. Blake wasn't just apologizing for the miscommunication. She was acknowledging the unintended harm her actions had caused to Justin's passion, his advocacy, and his professional reputation. It was an unspoken gesture of respect that spoke volumes. Justin's lawyer, who had been focused and calculating throughout the trial, looked at him for a moment before addressing the court. "It's clear that there was a misunderstanding here. Blake didn't mean to harm anyone, least of all Justin. We believe this situation can be resolved with mutual respect, understanding, and a shared commitment to moving forward." The judge, sensing the shift in the room, called for a brief recess. It was a subtle move, but one that indicated a change in direction. Both sides now had a moment to reconsider their path forward, possibly toward reconciliation. But even though the mood in the courtroom had shifted, the damage had already been done in the court of public opinion. Blake's emotional collapse in the courtroom, her raw vulnerability in the face of immense pressure, would undoubtedly follow her for quite some time. It was a moment captured by cameras, one that would live on in the media's narrative for weeks, if not months. The resolution coming together in the aftermath. When the trial resumed, both parties had taken a step back. It wasn't about winning anymore, it was about healing. Justin and Blake agreed to settle the case privately, putting the legal battle behind them. In a joint statement released to the media, both actors acknowledged the tension and the misunderstanding, but expressed a desire to move forward. Sometimes when you're fighting for something you believe in, it's easy to forget the human element. "I made that mistake, and for that, I'm sorry," Blake said in the statement. Justin, equally humbled, added, "This situation has taught us both that there's always room for growth and understanding, and I'm grateful that we've come to this point." As the dust settled, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni were able to go their separate ways. No longer enemies, but people who had learned from the experience. While it may have been a scandalous, dramatic, and emotional ordeal, it was also a moment of self-awareness and mutual respect. The courtroom collapse that shocked everyone was also a turning point for both stars. The Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni legal battle wasn't just a moment of celebrity drama. It was a story of vulnerability, growth, and reflection. The receipts Justin's lawyer brought to court may have seemed like an attack, but they also forced both Blake and Justin to face the consequences of their words and actions. It's a reminder that even those we admire the most are not immune to making mistakes, but how we handle those mistakes defines who we are. If you found this as shocking and emotional as we did, don't forget to subscribe for more insider stories, celebrity news, and everything happening in Hollywood. You never know what's coming next.